Hi, my name's Rich Boren, and I'm the owner of Cruiser Services, and we're a Schenker Watermaker distributor for the United States and Mexico. So what I wanted to do in this video was talk about the Wiki Watermaker. Well, what does Wiki mean? I get that question all the time. Wiki, W-I-K-I, is Hawaiian for quick. So the Schenker Watermaker, named the brand Wiki, is set up for quick and easy water making in a portable setup. The Wiki is basically the Zen 30 water maker made to be portable. So in this video, we're going to set it up, talk about the components, how to use it, how to set it up, how to maintain it, and we're going to make some water. We're here at the dock in Morro Bay, California on a foggy August day. So let's get started. So the Wiki Watermaker comes in two bags or carrying cases. There's the white case, which carries the Watermaker unit, the RO membrane, the high pressure pump, the feed pump, and pre-filter are all on one unit, and it goes inside this padded watertight case. So you can store it on the boat, move it out to your location to unpack it to make water. The second bag contains all of your hoses, all of your wet parts. The hoses have quick connect fittings on them, so when they're closed, you shouldn't have a bunch of water spilling everywhere. So all the wet hoses are going to go in the blue bag. The white case carries the actual water maker itself. So we'll open these pieces up and go through them and look at them in a little closer detail as we start to make some water here at the dock. So first, let's look at the hoses. There's three hoses that come with the unit. So let's see which one we randomly grab first. So this hose is your brine exit hose. It's going to plug onto the unit and send the water back overboard. There's no fitting on the other side. So this will just go back into the water off the dock, off of the boat side, and send the water back to the ocean that's not produced into water. Because remember, a water maker takes about 90% of the water that flows through it and dumps it back overboard. 10% becomes fresh drinking water. So there'll be, if you're making 8 gallons an hour with the Wiki unit, they will be 72 gallons an hour going back overboard out of this hose. So then the next hose we have here has the raw water strainer and a giant mesh filter over it, a screen to protect anything getting sucked into the unit, eelgrass, kelp, seaweed, and getting pushed in to the system. This quick connect fitting, we'll look closely at it when we set up the unit. It just plugs right into the system. So this is your inlet side here of the system. And then you're going to need a place for the product water, the fresh drinking water, that 10% that's not going overboard, it's going to be made into fresh drinking water. This fitting plugs into the side of the water maker, and then you can route this hose to fill up your tank, to fill up your jerry jugs, to fill up your neighbor's boat, whatever you're doing to wherever you're sending that fresh water that you're making. Let's look at one other thing that comes with the unit, because I think it's important, and we'll zoom in on this, because there's always a question of how do you connect a portable water maker to your ship's DC power supply. Well, with the Wiki, it comes with this two-part electrical plug. We'll zoom in on it closely for you in a moment. This piece mounts on your boat and then hardwires into your ship's 12 volt or 24 volt DC system. This side has a cord of whatever length you decide you need from where you're normally going to put the Wiki to get to the power. And the cord end connects to the unit. This end plugs in. And the way it works, it has a latching mechanism where when you plug it in, it can't accidentally fall out or be tripped and pulled out. So this is a secure way to always and easily power your water maker without needing to use some alligator clips or some other kind of halfway measure. This provides you a nice, secure, safe way to get DC power to the Watermaker with a pre-made cord that's all ready to go each time. At the end of the run, you simply unplug it, coil it up inside the bag, and off you go. So the actual Watermaker itself lives inside this white bag that's padded and some nice strap handles to move it around. So now we'll go ahead and pull it out. It's got some nice straps on the side to lift it up. So this is the actual Watermaker itself that you're gonna set on deck. So we'll go ahead and set it down here. All right, so we'll start doing a little closer look at the different components on the Wiki. This front cover is covering up the feed pump, the accumulator, and the pre-filter. This is the pre-filter here. So I've already removed the screws. We're just gonna pop it off so I can show you the different pieces of the unit. So this is the feed pump that's gonna be sucking the water out of the ocean. It pushes it through a pre-filter. So the pre-filter is removing the plankton, the algae. It's a 5 micron pre-filter, so it's removing any of the particulate solids that are larger than 5 microns in size. Anything smaller than 5 microns in size is going to go right through the RO membrane and back to the ocean. Anything larger than 5 microns could actually foul up the system, so we need to make sure that that's filtered out here in your pre-filter. The accumulator, what it's doing is when the piston of the high pressure pump cycles back and forth, there's a little bit of a pressure spike that you'll be able to see here on the gauge. The accumulator dampens that pressure spike. There's nothing you really need to do to that. It's just there teed off of the plumbing going into the pre-filter. So now let's go ahead and look a little closer at the Watermaker itself and start plugging in some hoses to try to make some water. Okay, so we have our 3 hoses that we're going to plug into the Watermaker. So the first one I like to plug in is the inlet line. So this is your raw water strainer and your rough strainer at the end so you don't suck anything in. So we're gonna toss that overboard, get it down below the water, and then we're gonna plug it into this fitting here. This is the inlet fitting right beneath the inlet feed pump. So we're just gonna push it in and click. Very simple. So now we're gonna plug in the brine discharge. This lets the water go back to the ocean. So toss it over and plug it in here as well. Oops, if I can not slip. So it just clips in. Then here's the fresh drinking water line, which will route to your hose or your tank. So it'll plug in here on the side of the unit with just a click. So this water from this line will be fresh drinking water that goes to your ship's tank or your jerry cans, whatever you're gonna do to fill up the water. So now we'll go ahead and turn the unit on. I wired this into a 12-volt battery. When you start the unit, you always want to purge out the air. So you'll have the depressurization valve on top of the unit open, lefty-loosey. Hit the on switch, and you'll hear the unit start to turn on. It'll start priming itself. You start seeing water flowing out the brine discharge. You see the air bubbles that were in the line coming through the line. And you'll hear the pump change pitch and tone as the air purges out and it starts building pressure. See, I just heard it start to actually start doing some work as the air's out of the system. So after I look at the line and there's no air traveling through anymore, that's when we want to close the depressurization valve. Just give it a tight snug. Because with the depressurization valve open, the unit won't build pressure and you won't start making fresh water. The seawater just flows through the system. So now we're building up to pressure somewhere between 5 and 6 bar, 6.5, because I know we're in an estuary here, so it's not maybe 100% seawater. There may be some fresh water mixed in, kind of a brackish scenario, because the pressure changes automatically based on the water salinity and the temperature to give you a 10% recovery. So 10% of the seawater that flows through the membrane is going to go through the membrane surface and become drinking water. Then 90% goes back overboard, which is the brine line here. So now the unit's been running for about 30 seconds or so. So if we go down here to our product water line, we'll notice we're making our 8 gallons an hour. So this can go into a tank directly in your deck fill, or you can use it to fill a jerry jug. My TDS meter to test the units out on the mooring on my boat, but just give it a sip. It's very good, fresh drinking water. So you're making 8 gallons an hour using 8 amps at 12 volt DC or 4 amps at 24 volt DC. So it's very easy to start up. When you're done, there is no pressure to adjust. You just flip the switch and the unit turns off. And now that I know air is purged out of the system, I don't need to open the depressurization valve to start it back up again. So if for some reason you stop making water while it's running, you just flip the switch back on. Everything was primed, so the unit starts making water again. And you'll notice the water pauses momentarily here out of the production tube. That's when the pressure pump is cycling back and forth. There's a moment you'll hear a click of the unit, and then you'll see a pause in your freshwater production rate. So if you would like to get more information on the Wiki Watermaker, you can go to my US website at SchenkerWatermakersUSA.com or shoot me an email anytime at rich@cruiserservices.com, and I'll be happy to help. Everyone have a great day, and we'll see you soon.